Let's freaking go. LSU gets a commitment today for the 2024 class. AHMAD BREAUX commits. Shout out to our North Louisiana viewers. You guys always hammer home. Recruit the 318. Also, something else. Michaela Williams, the five-star women's basketball recruit, played her final high school game. She'll be with Kim Mulkey next year. I understand that there are 1,000 different LSU sports stories going on with the LSU women's basketball team. Obviously, that was a heartbreaker. Dylan Cruz and the LSU baseball team, they're dominant, but we are LSU football all day, every day. So I'll touch on those topics as we always do. I know I get questions about those, but we stick with football. And today I'm going to give you my NFL Combine winners and losers from the LSU Tigers side of things. I understand the NFL Combine isn't necessarily something that makes or breaks a prospect. And I think obviously when you look at the people that really do crunch the numbers, right? You look historically at the best and worst combines from just anybody. There is mythology that goes along with a guy by the name of Jarvis Landry. I think you guys have heard of that guy before, right? Juice, who had a very successful NFL career and it's still going. And in fact, a few years ago, I actually got interviewed by an educational author for a book on how badly Jarvis Landry performed at the NFL Combine, right? So Jarvis had this bad NFL Combine, but we knew going into it that wasn't his strength. We knew Jarvis Landry wasn't the same type of athlete like a KAYSHON or like a Odell or a Jamar Chase. That's not his game. He is a possession receiver with some short area quickness, a lot like Jackson Smith and Jigba and Amon-Ra St. Brown currently playing now. So I get interviewed for this book, and a few years ago, they asked me, hey, because I was with Bleacher Report at the time, I remember doing an article saying, hey, do not sleep on Jarvis Landry. We know he ran this 4.77 combine, which honestly now a lot of offensive linemen eclipse that number with relative ease. And I said, this guy's still going to be a Pro Bowl level player. And he still was, because we knew speed isn't Jarvis Landry's game. So should we not freak out when KAYSHON had the worst combine of any NFL wide receiver, especially if you factor in expectation, right? I think most people were expecting KAYSHON to run in the 4.3 range. So he runs a 4.5, and then his second run, he runs a 4.67. The jumps were amongst the worst in the wide receiver group, whether it was a long jump or the vertical jump. KAYSHON struggled in both of those areas. So should we think of KAYSHON as a potential next Jarvis Landry, as a guy that you don't even really worry about the NFL Combine? We know KAYSHON could put up big numbers, right? Well, that's the issue here, is we knew going into it that Jarvis Landry was not going to test well. We knew that. But going into this, KAYSHON's explosiveness is a big reason why he was, one of the best true freshman receivers at his peak we've seen, right? The 300-yard game. A lot of you witnessed that. And just those final three games in general, when Terrace Marshall was out of the equation, KAYSHON went hundo, 300 with a lot of freakish, only he could make type of plays. And then when he was fully healthy, he was the Biletnikoff leader in his junior season, or sophomore season, excuse me. So you do begin to wonder, right? Is this another Jarvis Landry situation where, the combine numbers aren't reflective of who KAYSHON is as a player? Or has KAYSHON truly lost a step? And is this something that we should be worried about? So type Y for yes, type N for no. The NFL Combine is a reflective way of looking at KAYSHON as a player. Okay. Do you think it's fair to judge KAYSHON's performance at the NFL Combine? Type Y for yes, type N for no. And we welcome you in on a glorious Sunday night. I apologize for pushing the live stream back roughly 25-ish minutes. We had some internet issues. I don't know why. I had to reboot the router. So if for some reason our internet goes out again, your boy is going to be on the mobile device. I can use just data or whatever. So if the internet goes out, I will move to mobile. So I apologize for that. Thank you guys for being patient. Also, we are going to occasionally do some Saturday night live streams, but in the off season, we're going to move our Saturday night live stream to Sunday. Okay. Once again, we're moving our Saturday night live streams to Sunday night. I've had a few requests to do that. We will still occasionally go live on Saturday, and we have a few PHL get-togethers coming up here on Saturday as well. We just did one. I want the get-togethers to be a bigger part of what we do because I'm a big believer in meeting you guys in person. So, as always, your super chats, Venmos, Cash Apps, any question LSU football related, we will go straight to it. Okay, no questions asked. Okay, if you Venmo, Cash App, or super chat. Also, today I have another one of these. This has been the most popular Joe Burrow football card giveaway. I'm going to give away one of these tonight to our next person that joins the PHL Patreon. I really want to shout out Kedrick. He was our last Patreon person to sign up. Patreon.com/LSU football. Okay. I was all screwed up yesterday. I didn't know what day it was because I was looking for the live stream. So we will still do some Saturday night live streams. We are just also going to make Sunday a bigger part of what we do because apparently, let me ask you this. Do you guys prefer Sunday night over Saturday night? Let me know. Do you guys prefer Sunday to Saturday night live streams? Heck, we might just start doing both. But I want to make Sunday night a more thing because I love Sunday nights. I do. Don't forget, every Monday night, I'm still going to be going on Blake's show. That will probably never change. So I'll be on with Blake tomorrow, 7:30, as always on AYS. Love me some Blake Ruffino. And he was texting me a lot today about Dylan Cruz, and I am super excited about that young freaking man. So you guys like these Sundays better? There he is, our new patron, Kedrick. Why? Because I really thought the numbers would be better. I was sure his 40 would be in the 4.3 range. Absolutely. So there is some good news, okay, as far as KAYSHON is concerned. And then we'll get to a few other players here. All right, and then we'll talk a little bit more about AHMAD, BREAUX, okay? There is some good news. The first is that KAYSHON himself hit a high MPH, apparently, on his run. So there is a major difference in straight line speed and football speed, but also top speed. So I don't know if you guys remember this. A few days ago on a live stream, we talked about Ja'Marr Chase and how freakishly good he was in high school. And there was a clip where he ran 50 yards of 21 miles per hour and up consistently with little effort. And that is blazing. And that was an 18-year-old Ja'Marr Chase. Imagine what he's like now at his peak. So KAYSHON is able to get to top speed. He is built, and when he actually played, he played very similarly. I've gotten better at saying that word, to Ja'Marr Chase. So apparently KAYSHON's top speed is fine. Some guys just aren't good at 40-yard dashes, right? Also, you look historically, the guys that run sub 4.3 40s, the John Rosses of the world, don't really turn out to do a whole lot. But for the most part, most 40-yard dash times from the elite receivers are in the 4.5 range, right? So KAYSHON running 4.5 still means he can still scoot, right? But it does open up the question, did he lose something? Did he lose a little gusto from the injury? It was an ankle injury. It was a very gruesome ankle injury. We know the rehabilitation process was a very tumultuous one. So yeah, you do begin to ask those questions if you are an NFL evaluator. The bottom line, though, is one thing KAYSHON has going for him as well is his top speed apparently was still good, and he is an LSU wide receiver. This is a case where the brand helps out. There are few instances in the past decade where an LSU wide receiver did not exceed the expectations that were set upon them, right? More often than not, even Terrace Marshall this year started to come around some. They turn out to be studs, right? Doesn't matter which round they're drafted in. 1 to 7, they turn out to be solid. Even Racey McMath played a lot this year for the Titans. So it is very interesting. Did not realize KAYSHON was only 5'11". Good to see you, Prez. Tyler. I think he's originally from South Louisiana, but I'm claiming Ruston. Prez, good to have you. I predict Jenkins will be that guy. We'll talk a little bit about Jere Jenkins. Combine didn't go his way, but he is more of the Jarvis Landry type of player in that we knew going in Jere doesn't have those type of measurables when it comes to athleticism. It's very clear that he is not a Blazer. That is not his game. But the one thing that is very important, and it's important especially with Jere Jenkins, is his football IQ is immaculate, right? He is one of the most effective deep ball receivers that you'll ever see, right? He was really good at getting open deep. And there is a difference in just blazing by someone, like Jamar would do. And then there's a difference between finagling your way around somebody, which Jere oftentimes did. So, yes, I think Jere's going to turn out to be a pretty solid pro. He might have to grind his way through some practice squad stuff. The good news is he can also give you some special teams reps. But part of this issue, Buster, and I could be totally mistaken. Once again, check it out, Power Hour SEC. I do more general SEC stuff. I think this year the SEC is really deep when it comes to the NFL draft at all positions. And that is actually a good thing if you're an LSU fan. If you look across the board, okay? If you look across the board, yes, you don't see as many LSU players in these combine settings, right? There was a lot that chose not to test. They're going to wait till the pro day. But there is an exodus of a lot of really good players in the SEC. And I think LSU is better prepared to handle their exodus than some other schools will handle their exodus. So basically, there are a lot of really good football players leaving the SEC. And I know what you're going to say. Well, duh. Carter, every year there's 1,000 great SEC football players. But I'm telling you right now, there's 4 different running backs that left their SEC schools, and they might be the best SEC back going into the NFL draft. You can make a case for Odchain. You can make a case for Gibbs. You can make a case for Evans. And you can make a case for Bigsby. There are a lot of really, really good players that are permanently on LSU schedule that are not returning to their respective teams, right? I look at Arkansas. Matt Landers is a wide receiver that made some noise this past weekend at the Combine. Malik Heath, and the list goes on. There's a lot of really good players that left these schools, and I think LSU's in a good spot right now. I really do. So, yeah, this is what we're talking about. Good to see you, Billy. Buster follows up. Boutte's an absolute freak athlete when he is at his best. If he slides down in the draft, he'll be a great value for the team that picks him up. Could you imagine him and Mahomes? That's a good thing if you're a big KAYSHON fan. if he continues to slide, he can be in a range where he's not like Terrace Marshall and going to a really crappy quarterback situation, right? And if you look, honestly, most LSU wide receivers of the modern era went to a bad quarterback situation, right? Or a middle of the road quarterback situation. Jamar caught a gold mine here with Joe. That was pretty clear. And you can make case OBJ with Eli Manning, even though that was a later stage Eli Manning. But a lot of guys, had to make the most of it, right? Jarvis with Tannehill, Chark with Minshew, and they still made Pro Bowls. So hopefully KAYSHON goes to a good spot. Oh, man, Cincinnati. Huh? That would be insane. Honestly, FACP, I would prefer Jure go there because Jure actually played with Joe and Jamar, but that would still be insane, right? KAYSHON didn't play with either one. He missed both by a year. So, and technically he didn't miss Jamar by a year, but you guys know what I'm saying. Achane, I think, ran 4.33, which I think was a little bit of a disappointment considering his 100-meter time is truly Olympic level. But, speaking of that, the 100-meter, like KAYSHON is verified sub 1,100 meter. You look at the tape, and it did seem like he lost some type of gear, right? He wasn't the same that he was the year before. Now, some of that is offense, some of that is fit, some of that is QB, but a lot of it was just, he didn't look the same for whatever reason. So there you go. Now, I want to talk about a few other LSU players here really quickly, and then we'll get into some spring football stuff. Man, I was really impressed with Anthony Bradford today. I know LSU offensive line content gets the juices flowing, but he had a good day. Apparently, he ran a pretty good 40 time. So that's very good for him. I think his raw athleticism is really good. I do think, at times his technique could get a little sloppy, but still, I think he's going to play in the NFL for a long time. And I don't know if he's going to be like Trey Turner good, but I think he made himself some money today. I also think Jay Ward is very interesting. Okay. Here is a Swiss Army knife DB that is truly a 5-tool player, using a baseball term. Jay Ward has verifiable film at each and every position in the defensive backfield. Okay. So, outside corner, that tape is a little rough, but, overall, he played nickel, he played all the safety positions. He's going to be a solid special teamer. And I know because Skipper reminded me a lot. A few others of you reminded me a lot. His tackling was not great in his 2021 season, but this last year got a lot better, especially after the Florida State game. So Jay Ward, I think, is going to be an interesting player, right? The nickel corner position is a very valuable one. So we know he could play it. I think also NFL teams would ask, does he have a peak at any of the positions? Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But the good thing is he does have the capability of playing all of them, even though outside corner is not his thing. So there you go. Yes, so Achane, as we mentioned, for 3. Man, I don't know how I feel about him. I really, really, really don't. Right now, I know everybody has Bijan Robinson. I really do like Charbonnet coming out of UCLA. You guys know I like bigger backs anyway. I like to have some meat on those bones. So, yeah, good to see Billy. It's been a while since we've seen you. Jenkins is reliable too. There you go. The dumbest people ever come from New Orleans. So I strongly disagree with that. I'm not just saying that because of my Louisiana bias. It's just this is just not true, right? Um, I would check with the Panhandle State. How about that? I'm a huge Charbonnet fan. I like him a lot. He has got some size on him. But yeah, I think this running back class is going to be really good. I do. I really, really do. I think this could end up being the strongest position in the draft. Then, as far as like NFL draft stuff is concerned, I will say this. Jaden Daniels made a very good decision to come back because, man, the SEC quarterbacks really, really, really put in some work. Stetson helped himself out. He looked good. There's just no other way around it. Obviously, Will Levis is always going to look good, along with Anthony Richardson when it comes to the underwear Olympics. So, I think Jaden made the right decision to come back because it would have been really hard for him to get drafted over any of those guys. Even though there were some murmurs of Jaden Daniels being coveted by some NFL scouts, obviously, for his athleticism, which is off the freaking charts. His intangibles, which is off the freaking charts. So, with when you draft someone like that, you want your quarterback to be great in both of those aspects. But, obviously Jaden's got to clean up some aspects of throwing the football. And I think next year he's got a very good shot of being one of the Anthony Richardson types in this NFL draft. So I'm telling you right now, Jaden, wherever he is, he made a brilliant decision to come back. Number one, we have a national championship level roster. And number two, it would have been tough. It would have been tough for him to sneak into the first or second round in this draft, right? Because you go through the quarterback names of guys that are clearly ahead of him, and there's no less than six, right? No less than six guys that would be ahead of him right now. And there's no telling how he would have tested and all of that, but I just think the Anthony Richardson hype cycle has gotten pretty wild here lately. I know we had a huge debate on this when Blake was on here. I'm a little bit more pro Anthony Richardson. He is just out on him. I have faded in my love for him in just a bit, but overall, you swing for the fences and you see what that guy can bring. So yeah, I think this SEC class is really good coming out, in particular on the offensive side of the football. So I think LSU's in a good spot. Yes, we have some really good offensive players too. KAYSHON, Jarvis, obviously Anthony Bradford, who we mentioned a minute ago. But, we talk about this, a minute ago about the best group in this draft class could be running back. LSU returns all their running backs. And I know on paper, Josh Williams doesn't, move the needle for a lot of you. Noah Cain doesn't move the needle for a lot of you. I was in this exact same position telling you this very thing, but the data just does not back this up. I mean, they were really good, those two guys in particular, towards the end of the season. And then Armani played a lot better than, any of us probably thought he would. John Emery, outside of the fumbles, had a very solid season. So we get all our running backs back. We get our best offensive lineman back. We get some other really good pieces back. So, as long as Malik Neighbors is there and BTJ is there are some really good pieces to come together and form a really, really good offense. So I love it. I freaking love this team. I'm loving the way this roster is coming together. We got enough special guys that can move the needle for us. We have, a quarterback coming into year 5. We see how much age and experience matters at the quarterback position, in particular when it comes to actually making a run to the playoff. I like where we are. We got a very good backup quarterback situation. We return all our coaches. We'll see how the special team stuff turns out, but hopefully it does work itself out. We return our punter, our kicker, deep snapper. Man, I mean, there's just a lot of good things to like about this team going into next year. And you guys know I don't sunshine pump. I had LSU as a 7-8 win team, and they won 10. Well, they won 9 in the regular season, and they ended up winning 10. I had a 7-8 win regular season team, and Coach Kelly, shattered those expectations. So I'm loving where we are right now as a team and a program. JSB, good to see you. You could be an excellent college QB and it doesn't transfer to the NFL, and that's fine. And you know what's funny about this, JSB? I think there is one prevailing thought with NFL GMs, and they should be very careful with what I'm about to say. Now that Josh Allen exists, NFL teams are also thinking the opposite. Okay. So I want you guys to reread this statement. You can be an excellent college quarterback and it does not transfer to the NFL, and that's fine. What NFL teams are now thinking, with Josh Allen being the prototype that everybody wants, is you can not be an excellent college quarterback and it still transfers to the NFL and that you become excellent, right? And I would be very careful with that because right now, any team that is drafting Anthony Richardson, you are trying to copy the Josh Allen model, right? Anthony Richardson was not a great college quarterback. He was a very good college quarterback. Very good. Very, very good. He had a great offensive line. He had a great running back duo. He had above average receivers, right? Justin Shorter, Ricky Pearsall, they were fine. And play calling, I'll say that for another day, how Billy Call plays his first year. It was Richardson who made a lot of mistakes. And he also made a lot of plays for that team, right? But he wasn't a great college quarterback. There was plenty of SEC quarterbacks that were better than him. Jaden is one of them, right? KJ Jefferson is definitely one of them. Bryce Young was better than him last year. Stetson Bennett was definitely better than him last year. Hendon Hooker was definitely better than him last year. And I could also make the case that all of those names that I just mentioned were better than Will Levis, right? And now NFL teams are thinking, hey, look, you don't have to be a great college quarterback to be a great NFL quarterback. And they're right. They're right. There's a lot of, college quarterbacks that weren't, Tom Brady didn't light, Michigan on fire. He shared snaps. But there's a lot of NFL teams that say, look, these guys are athletic marvels. They just need actual NFL coaching. I'd be very careful. I would. Now, let me ask you guys this. Let me know if you want me to continue the NFL draft conversation. Type Y for yes, type in for no. If you want me to get into a different topic, this seems to be what a lot of you want to talk about. It is the NFL Combine. We did get a recruit to commit today, AHMAD, BREAUX. Type Y for yes, type in for no if you want to stay on Combine talk. But I think Jaden feels really good about his decision to come back now because he's like, look, if these guys can be first-round picks, why can't I? Yes. Yes. We want to move on here. Exactly. So I'm just going to be honest here. If I was an NFL general manager, I would take AR's tools over anybody. And if you wouldn't take his tools over anybody, you're just lying to yourself. His arm, outside of Will Levis, is the best. His speed, is the best ever recorded. His explosiveness is the best ever recorded, right? So, I mean, it's clear. It's clear. Someone that we didn't talk about here is Bryce Young. Okay. So, Kedrick, our latest patron, wants to go on to a new topic. Ed wants to move to a new topic. Okay. We could do that. This is a good question. Did any in-state kids earn big money this weekend? I'm a big Dontavian Wicks fan. Shout out to my guy Caucus. He was a receiver out of Plaquemine who went to UVA and had a great career. But Trey Palmer honestly made himself some money. That doesn't shock anybody because he is an absolute freak of an athlete. And that was never the issue at LSU. I would like to do a deep dive on why Trey Palmer wasn't what he was at Nebraska. But I have a lot of theories as to why. But yeah, I think Trey's got a really good shot at playing in the NFL a long freaking time. So there you go. And it also brings up this question, Chance. If all these receivers from Louisiana, they go elsewhere and they still become great, like 3 stars, like Dontavian Wicks, good example. Why do we ever recruit wide receivers out of state? We miss on guys and they go win Heisman trophies, and we're still putting out the best wide receiver groupings almost every season. It's very interesting. So yeah. Now, let me ask you guys this, and then we'll get into some other LSU specific things. Do you believe in Bryce Young in the NFL? I already know how Simper feels about Bryce Young. I'm telling you right now. One thing about Bryce Young really quickly. Really, really, really quickly. All right. I know he's tiny. He would be the smallest quarterback in the NFL. But I have never, ever seen a QB as a true sophomore have these types of feel for the game plays. It was truly incredible, right? And some of the little things that I look for in film study was just so immaculate. He made a lot of this stuff he did from the pocket look so easy. And by the way, unlike Mac Jones, unlike Tua Tagovailoa, unlike freaking Brody Croyle, John Parker Wilson, how many special wide receivers did Bryce Young have to throw to? Okay. No, I'm not pulling for him, Skipper. Don't get it twisted. You're not going to see me buying Bryce Young stuff. Now, I'm not really a fan. Now, if for some reason he goes to the Saints or the Broncos, I like the Broncos. I cheer for him. But the dude is a magician. But the athleticism does show up on tape sometimes. And by athleticism, some of it is stuff he can't control, which is his height. He can't see over the offensive line. And, he could extend the play better than anybody. There were some times where I felt things were a little brutal for him when it comes to throwing over the middle of the field and missing some throws. College Football Nerds did some really good stuff on this. But overall, I As a short person, I am rooting for him. I am 5. Well, I'm not tall. I'll put it that way. I cheer for short people, so I am going to root for him some. And yeah. Bryce Young is the same size as Kyler Murray without the speed. He's not going to do well if he can't avoid the hits. He won't last long. Russell Wilson is not that short. That's very short. That's like Kevin Hart. Kyler Murray and Bryce Young. Bryce Young's actually a little shorter than Kyler. And yeah. What's up, Stefan? Now, Kedrick, you are our newest patron. We have yet to get a super chat, so Kedrick, you get to pick the next topic. You're also one that wanted to move on from the NFL draft. So let's do it. AHMAD, bro. LSU commit. Now, moving on to a few other more LSU specific things. I do think, where are the receptions going to go? So I decided to go back and look at some Dre Jenkins highlights today because I knew his 40 wasn't going to be the best. I got a little discouraged about that. I'm a big Dre fan. I'm going to root for him. I'm going to buy his rookie cards, all that good stuff. Dre was very good for us last year, and he was very good for us the past couple of years. And he had so many big catches for us. They were as he probably had as many timely catches where you're like, God, that was big, as just nothing catches, like a 8-yard out. And I'm trying to figure out who that guy is going to be for us, right? Like, you look at some of these great LSU teams, they always had, even if they didn't put up the biggest numbers, they would occasionally give you that one big catch for 41 yards and a tutty, right? Skylar Green was kind of that guy in the early 2000s. Young Brandon LaFell was one of those guys for, the 07 team. Who's going to be that guy? Who's going to be that number 3 guy that occasionally gives you that big catch? I don't know. Okay. How many of you, I want you to be honest, this is very important. I want you to be open. It's okay. It's fine. And look, we love everybody here that wears a purple and gold. Who is that guy going to be? Now, let me ask you this. Type Y for yes, type N for no. And I want you to be as honest as you can. You believe that Kyron Lacey is someone that could be that guy. We're not asking him to be Malik. We're not asking him to be freaking Jamar Chase. We're not asking him to do that. We're not asking. We know Malik and BTJ is going to carry the weight for us. We know that. That's not especially with Malik. BTJ, we'd like to see another leap. Do you believe in Kyron Lacey? Now, I know Semper does. He's going to hold down for Lafayette. Now, Kendrick, I'm going to get to this in just a second. I want to see at least 3 linebackers who need them at safety, and I want to see a 5-star running back soon. John Sibley Butler, every single time, dropping a $20 super chat. I really do appreciate you. And Trey, I see your super chat as well. We'll get to AHMAD Bro in just a second. So let me start off with this. Given our knowledge of LSU now, as opposed to an unknown LSU last year, how would you prepare to defeat the Tigers? Good question. Okay, so I know a lot of you might not like what I'm about to say because the question here is how would I prepare to play LSU going into next year? Okay, so it depends. Are you asking me to prepare for a team on defense or offense? I'm going to try and do both just off the top of my head, right? So you take a look at what LSU was defensively last year, okay? The one thing you did not want to do is get into these third and long situations where we could get very exotic with Harold Perkins and BJ Ojolari. And that's the case with anybody. You don't want to get into a situation where you're in third and long. So I know a lot of you are going to say, no duh. Okay. And I see Bruce with a very good super chat here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Some Aaron Anderson love. We'll get to it. So what I would do is I would run the football more than average. Okay. And I would stress the edges of the LSU defense. So I'm running a lot of zone, I'm running a lot of counter that stresses LSU's 4 eyes and edge techniques, especially if Perk is going to be the every down jack. And I would take a look at what Texas A&M did and try to run a very similar game plan. And I would also stress the inside linebackers horizontally, right? Last year, Matt House elected to play, for the most part, some very conservative coverages. So it's hard to get over the top of that. But that's what I would do offensively, okay? Now, defensively, if I was preparing for LSU, one thing LSU loved to do was, just some bread and butter inside zone. Okay. I think each and every one of you can watch, these games and see that LSU loved that play. Right. And we can get very filmy here. And it's hard to on a live stream. And if you are new, we do film studies and you could see a lot of them on the Power Hour LSU channel. Okay. So if I were LSU, I would not let them do that. And what I would do is I would play very aggressively. I would force Jaden Daniels to see if he can actually get the football over the top of our defense and not allow them to inside zone us to death. Now, the issue is Jaden is the best runner of the football in the entire college football landscape. So it's easier said than done because LSU would tag a lot of things off of inside zone and RPO kind of things. And, it was tough. Now, the funny thing is, effectively, some of the RPO stuff we did wasn't smooth, right? A lot of our RPO throws would get deflected. The Jack Besh pass that was miraculously intercepted off his helmet. Sometimes our RPO, transactions as far as throwing out of it weren't as clean as we would have liked. But still, LSU is a really a tough team to defend. LSU was very sound. We were very physical. Brian Kelly made us a tougher football team. I truly do believe that. Once we got an offensive line together by the third game, we were truly, cooking with grease. And man, I was very impressed by that. But what I would do is try my best to get LSU out of doing what they do best, which is honestly running the football. We were so good at running the football last year. Now, some games, obviously the Tennessee game, we were not. I think some of that was because of the hole we were dug in, but still. And Tennessee's run defense was actually pretty solid. So I know we got a few super chats. That was, as you can see, one that took a little bit more time. John Sylvie, I hope I answered your super chat well. Okay. All the NFL scouts have to do is watch your deep dive on Dre. I've done a lot of them. Can you touch on the new recruit real quick? Let's go. So AHMAD, bro, 3-star recruit. Obviously, that doesn't really get a lot of you guys very excited, but I'm about to give you a little bit of a hint here. 3 stars committing now is different than a 3-star committing months from now, because recruiting rankings go up as time goes on, as in the number of 4-star recruits, number of 5-star recruits. So early on, these evaluators are still going through their evaluation process. Okay. And if you are committed to Duke and you're a 3-star defensive end, a lot of recruiting evaluators are going to be like, okay, this guy might not be that good. But if you're a 3-star defensive end that's got an LSU offer and you commit to it, I think his recruiting ranking is going to go up just based off of that. Now, is that a sound way of evaluating a player? Not really, because you're still the same player, right? But that's something that just happens, right? When you commit to a bigger school, your recruiting ranking goes up. So, that's not, rocket science, right? That happens all the time. I've also shared 1,000 times on here how the recruiting evaluators normally get the things right. So, yeah, I mean, I think I think his recruiting ranking is going to go up. Also, never dismiss a kid off a recruiting ranking. I think a lot of you feel that way as well. Now, what do you make of North Louisiana, defensive ends? Well, Rustin had to play Lance Hurd last year, right? And if you go look at our Lance Hurd breakdown from a few weeks ago, I think we actually had a snap or two with AHMAD, bro. I'd have to go back and look at that, really quickly. But yeah, he's gone up against obviously some really good competition, and he was coached by Kyle Williams and still is coached by Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams was the defensive coordinator for Rustin, the LSU legendary defensive tackle, at a 13, I believe, year career with the Buffalo Bills. So, and won a national championship with Chad Lavallee in 04. So, or 03. You guys know what I was saying. 04 was the actual national championship game. So yeah, he's a thicker end. So, you take a look at someone like Kalaj Cobbins, who committed to LSU on Friday night. We haven't talked a whole lot about him. We've spent some time on him previously. He commits to LSU. So this is the second, defensive lineman or edge rusher that is committed to LSU, but they're different players, right? Cobbins is smaller. He's very light, but he's from Destrehan. We know Destrehan produces dogs, right? And he has got a motor. He has got some real playmaking ability. And, where Cobbins really started, popping out to me was on the Ricky Collins deep dive we did on Patreon. So, I like what I've seen so far from AHMAD, bro. Once again, I've not done a whole lot, so I'm not going to give you like a full grade, and I don't ever give a final grade on a prospect until it's all said and done on after their senior tapes are out. But for the most part, I think this is a guy that's going to move up the recruiting rankings from him committing to LSU. Also, something else that I will say to this, Trey, is linemen are valuable, right? I think linemen are tougher to come from in the transfer portal. I do think offensive lineman straight out of high school is the most valuable resource in recruiting outside of an elite quarterback or someone truly elite, like a Harold Perkins, if you will, at a different position. So, defensive end, you always need to reload the defensive lineman in your program. Also, something else, and this matters to me, it might not matter to a single one of you out there. I love kids from North Louisiana. I think LSU is a very unique situation where the entire state loves you. Okay. I think, we haven't thought about this enough. If Tulane for some reason ever became a Power 5 program, it would change some things, right? Uh, LSU, they control the entire state when it comes to, Power Five recruits. Everybody in the state of Louisiana is an LSU fan. So the more North Louisiana recruits, I'm looking at you, Linda. I'm looking at you, Ant. I'm looking at you, Tyler. You guys know who you are. I know I'm missing a few North Louisianians in this conversation. So the truth is, my goodness gracious, North Louisiana recruits are valuable. They've been valuable for the program. Mo Claiborne, Kyle Williams, Will Campbell, as you can see, was one of the, if not the most valuable player on the team on the offensive side of the football. It means a lot. It means a lot. Now, let's go to this from Bruce, Malik, BTJ, Aaron Anderson, and a healthy Chris Hilton. Okay. Let's have a conversation with this. 1 and 2 correct. No doubt about it. Number 3, Aaron Anderson. Obviously, the biggest wild card with Aaron Anderson. I know a few of you said Ibieta a minute ago, and it's kind of the same thing with him as well, is health. The same thing could be said about number 4, Chris Hilton. The best ability is availability. And I wrote about this in on the Patreon. I think, Bruce, you're a patron. So if you are a patron, you could see this on the spring preview. This, and Bruce is one of the sharpest minds. If you follow him on Twitter, you could see Bruce gets a lot of things right. If you go to the Patreon, the one thing I like about Kyron Lacy is he has been healthy, and that is so key, right? LSU receivers get hurt, skill guys get hurt. You need you need backups. Okay, so yeah, I think, as far as Chris Hilton is concerned, health is very big. Obviously, we know he's got the fastball, right? We know he can run very deep and he can run very fast, and those things are great. The biggest thing I see from watching him is keeping your feet, right? And this is honestly just a very simple thing that I feel coaches could do a better job of this early on. Is a lot of people dive and leave their feet when they don't have to. Keep your feet as often as you can, and big things will happen. You can get more yak. And when I watch Chris Hilton, as far as like yak is concerned, and breaking a lot of tackles, he wasn't as good as that as some other players. So I think his health is obviously the most important thing. We know he catches the football really cleanly. You can see that in drills. He is a very pure hands catcher, but it comes down to the physicality aspect of it. Keeping your feet is very key. Aaron Anderson is a very special human being with the football in his hands. You saw it at Edna Carr, right? But now, he's going to be limited in the spring, and there's going to be so much focus on him and pressure on him to fix our returner issues. I think there's going to be a lot of focus on that with him. So, yeah, I think Aaron Anderson, though, being a former 5-star, the potential is there. Chris Hilton, a top 100 recruit in his own right. What's very interesting is most Louisiana top 100 recruits get drafted into the NFL. Okay. Most of them do. So that is obviously very good news if you are a Chris Hilton or Aaron Anderson fan, because, the recruiting data backs him up. Trey's always down for a quality edge rusher. I love it. Freaking love it. Let's go. Nuss has it all, just different from JD5. If JD5 gets banged up, the Tigers would not miss a beat. It's just different. Good to see you. Late Tepex. Everybody welcome Late Tepex. L8 Tapix. JD gets past first depth like he does. He's going to hurt you. Rez is showing some love to Shelton. I like it. But the analytics are starting to point to sacks being more detrimental than INTs in the aggregate. Please show me those analytics. I'd love to see it. As you guys know, I'm an analytic nut. Let's see here. Let's take a look at the poll question really quickly. BJ Ojolari dominating the poll. There we go. A new poll question up there. Quick spot right here before I get this poll question up. All right. There we go. It's known that some teams look at recruiting ranking when drafting later. Let's see. New poll question is up. LSU's number 3 wide receiver behind BTJ and Malik. I'm down to schedule Tulane. Heard Young to the Colts. Let's see here. Okay. Pressy Collection and PressyCollection.com. Look at that. TLDR. Sacks equals 1.7 points lost, but 3x more likely to happen. Interceptions, 4.1 lost points. Additionally, sacks on first down conversion rate is like 30% and gets lower. Well, yeah, if you have the Twitter thread or the article, please send it to me if you can. I love to read it. Unless these are your analytics. If they are, that's even more impressive. I like new calculations. And if they are yours and you have it written out somewhere, send me a link. I'd love to see it. But also, obviously, it depends on where the interception is. Like, if it's 3rd and 10, and you throw, a deep interception into double coverage, who cares? It's an arm punt, if you will. So there you go. Let's see here. Bucci, good to see you. You changed your photo, like it. Seen Devin White last night. That's cool. What y'all talk about? Oh, Skipper wants to do a. And, and he's like, hey, he didn't do it yet. Skipper, this doesn't count as a W for you. It doesn't. Okay. So don't get carried away here. You ain't done nothing yet. Nola Grizz. What up? What up? What up? Much blessings to you and the wifey. I see you out there killing it, my guy. Let's go. Appreciate you. Big time. You get to pick the next topic. Any topic under the sun. Go right on ahead. You get to pick it. And we'll talk about it. That's the brilliance of super chatting. You control the conversation after my opening discussion. There you go. That's what it is. It's just LSU fans hanging out, man, having a good time. I don't want you to think of this as a show. I want you to think of this as a fun experience. Butcher, man, when I get 1 million subscribers, well, I don't shake my butt enough. I can't give financial advice. My last name isn't Beast. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to 1 million, but 100K to get the silver play button, that would be wonderful. But yeah, like LSU specific channels, I've been at 8 for so long, and I don't ask people to subscribe too much. I think subscriber count is a little overrated. Getting to that number is going to be tough. I just want to get to 10,000. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. JD8, 43 sacks, 73.1 expected points for loss, which equates to nearly 18 interceptions. Good, interesting point of view. All right. So sometimes a sack isn't bad. A lot of Jaden's sacks were for 1 yard here, 2 yards here, 3 yards here. He took a lot of not bad sacks, but sacks that you shouldn't take. So yeah, I mean, there were some sacks, let's say the Alabama game, where we ran, I believe, flood concepts to the left and a rushing lane to the right opened itself up. And the defensive end did a good job retracing the steps and getting to him. But if he would have gotten through that guy, it would have been a big game. And it was a sack, but it was a sack for 2 yards. Wasn't much of anything. So, yeah, Jaden had a lot of those sacks. Some of those should not have been taken, though. And he needs to do a better job of keeping his eyes down the field. So, I don't know. It just depends on, if you eat a sack and somebody was open, then that's on you, okay? Good example of this. Tennessee game, we were running mesh, right? A concept we ran a lot in the spring, and he had Kyron Lacy open. Just depends on the progressions and all of that and the play call. But something did open itself up, and he should have been able to get rid of it, and we took a sack instead of getting a first. So to your point, Bang, that was a big sack. That was a big sack that, cost us dearly. But not all sacks are like that. Okay. Nola Grizz, it's an hour into it. That's fine. That's perfectly fine if you ask a Saints question. I know this is LSU all day, every day. I see that Deuces Loose jersey. I've kept the McAllister jersey up. It'll probably be an LSU jersey. Wanted to show some love to the legend. You covered the whole SEC. What do you think about them Who Dat boys drafting the QB out of Florida who's had an amazing combine? So I have some bad news to report to you, Nola Grizz. Anthony Richardson will not be available to the Saints. I don't think he gets out of the top 10 now. Unless the Saints moved way up and gave up a lot of assets, it's just not going to happen. Now, do they have a draft pick in the first round? They do now. So what's going to happen? I don't know. Let me get the actual they are the number 29 overall pick. Right? We got the Sean Payton trade. Not happening. Anthony Richardson is not going to make it to us. Now, here's what we're going to do, Nola Grizz. Exactly. See, me and you, we got this telepathy. I'm telling you. I was so excited. So, quick story. Nola Grizz, I didn't know if he was going to make it to our PHL get together, but he did. And it was after the pregame show. We had a great time. We really did. I met you, your wife, and your wife's friend. Wonderful people. Okay. And I love the tattoo flexing thing at halftime. That was fun. So Hendon Hooker would be available to the Saints at 29. Hendon Hooker is probably not going to be in the first round at all. So do you wait for him in the second round? Well, you would be drafting a quarterback coming off an ACL who is also a little bit older, who played his best football in an offense that a lot of NFL teams are skeptical of, which is the Josh Heupel Tennessee offense. Okay? Now, have there been players that put up numbers in doohickey offenses that worked out in the NFL? Yes, there's plenty of them, right? There's a lot of people that didn't think Cam Newton would be a great NFL quarterback, and boy, were they wrong, right? So, Hendon Hooker, I will say this, as big, and I know this is going to come off as like a contradiction because, I hyped up Josh Heupel so much going into this last year. As much as I like the Tennessee offense and as much as I like a lot of aspects of how Josh Heupel does some things with the Vols, I do believe that I do have some skepticism about some of their offensive players going into next year, right? Now, we'll see how NFL teams feel about Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman had a really good combine, as did Justin Shorter. So, we'll see if that hurts KAYSHON. We talked a lot about KAYSHON at the beginning, but Hendon Hooker had these amazing weapons to throw to. He had an amazing play caller. And I do think, as far as like accuracy and all those things are concerned, I do have some questions about it. I really, really, really do. So he had a really good run game, really good play caller. And yes, the Alabama game was great. Yes, the game versus us was great. We obviously helped them quite a bit. I not as on fire about the Saints spending a draft pick on Hendon Hooker. I'm just not. So there you go. I don't know why my nose is itching so daggone much tonight. Is it because I switched to whatever this is? So John Sibley is a Hendon Hooker believer. I like him a lot personally. Or Hacksaw Max Duggan. Um, so Max ran a really good 40. He's just not. I mean, he's very good. He's a very good college quarterback. It's just not. It could just be eye test. It could just be, that Georgia chalk outlining caution taped loss he took. Because I've never seen anything like that. I thought Oklahoma versus us was bad. I did not think a college football playoff game would be worse than that, much less a final. But it happened. So he was obviously very bad in that game. And I don't know if that was him. I don't know if it was a moment. It was a lot. And one game doesn't make a player. So I'm trying not to let that game just, coat my judgment here. But yeah, I don't know. New Orleans will end up with Lamar. Good. Huh? I would take that any day of the week. I would use that pick to beef up with the D-line or O-line. Him coming off the ACL, I believe, is a blessing in disguise. The Saints aren't going anywhere this season. Rehabbing and sitting and learning a couple years could be of great benefit, in my opinion. So, yeah, I don't know. Lamar, yeah, I would take the chance. Like, I think for me, what I would prefer for the Saints, okay, I would prefer them be in position to draft Caleb Williams or Drake May next year. That would be my preference because you get the rookie contract. And if that's not the case, you get Lamar Jackson. Okay. So that's what I want. Okay. So there you go. But yeah, I'm just gonna let you know. I know he's not a popular person on this channel. I don't know exactly why. I don't think it's because of the him picking, Oklahoma over us. But Caleb Williams is that guy. He is that guy. He is really good. And I am perfectly fine with that guy being the QB of my team. Pierce, get out of here with this. I'm not. You must be talking about the Saints and the Vipers, because I know you are not talking about the Pelicans. You might be talking about the Saints and the Voodoo, or the Saints and the Zephyrs. Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Okay. there was a football game today decided by a football score. Now, do you guys know which football game, not XFL, that was decided today by a football score? Do you know? Sure, you guys know. Sure, you guys know. This is just simple trivia. This isn't even. So this was a worldwide affair. Pierce, you already got the Lakers doing that. Even though they won today. They're not going to get Wemby. So, yeah. Let's do it. I'm a JD5 fan. Let's go. Holler about the fingernails being polished. There you go. Oh, okay. Forget you, Pegasus. Michael Eunice. Let's go. I don't care if I lose 20 more viewers. I'm losing them because they already knew where I was going with this. Bang! 7-0 today. The Reds are back. Let's freaking go. The Scousers. Just know, PHL Nation, you will never walk alone, baby. 7-0. 7-0. A 7-piece. Let's go. Let's freaking go. Tell them about it, Eunice. Everybody welcome Michael Eunice to the channel. 7-0. My goodness gracious. Man, you has families to go home to. 7-0. My God. Why couldn't they do that when I went? All right, we got Man City in here. Come on. This is an adult conversation. Don't need Man City in this. Barca forever, my friend. I like Barca. I can't lie. I can't lie. Did you know my biggest YouTube video ever, 1.4 million views? I got to go to a Barcelona practice and it let me bring a camera in. Could you believe that? But yeah, I can send it to you in Older. I'll send it to you on Instagram. Any day Man U loses is a good day. Ain't that the truth? and your name is technically MU. I love it. Oh man. I love it. 7-0. And Bobby Firmino got him a goal. Bobby got him one. Let's go. I love Bobby. The Guadalajara Goats. Oh, man. Everybody welcome Eunice. I love it. Michael, I don't think you've ever commented Michael Eunice until now. When I drop a Liverpool comment. That's my kind of guy right there. So it's the only time I'll bring it up. Now, if you super chat and ask me about Liverpool, I'll break it down for you. But I needed this one. I needed this one today. I needed it. It's been a stressful week for your boy. Ugh. It's been stressful. I won't get into details, but it's been stressful. I needed that 7-0. Okay. This is my favorite profile photo. Look at Jason. Look at this smile. It's golden, man. How did you get a selfie to look this daggum good? Look at that. He's got the PA. He's got the OG PHL shirt. He's got the hat. Look at that. I love it. So yeah. But you know what? I understand. As an LSU fan and as a Liverpool fan, 2019 was my golden year. Nothing will ever beat that. I'm not going to even front that my life has not been fulfilled. It has been fulfilled. Okay, I've gotten married. Life is great. Um, hopefully one day I'm making a lot of money. That'll hopefully come one day. I don't know how, but it is. But the simple truth is, when it comes to sports, I am blessed. Hashtag blessed. Okay, the Pelicans are my final team that needs to win a title, and then I will never complain about anything. Oh, I don't comment because I don't have a pick. So here's the thing, Eunice. It's perfectly fine if you don't have a pick. Max Kalina doesn't have a pick. Max hadn't been to a chat recently. He's busy. I'm guessing. I haven't talked to Max in a minute. But a lot of you know Max Kalina. Max is great dude. He's one of our NYC PHL chapter presidents. Okay. So Max didn't have a picture. Even if you don't have a photo, it's fine. Now, why do I bully people into having profile photos of their beautiful faces? Well, I do that because I want to see your beautiful face. Because, as many of you know, I am big on PHL meetups and getting to meet you guys. Okay, we just did one recently in the 225. It was kind of short notice, but we did it and it was great. We did one in Bossier. We might have another one coming up in Bossier, so be on the lookout for that. But no, I seem like I'm serious about it, but I like it. I like it. Like it does add to it for me. But honestly, the main reason is because there's 1,000 chats coming in, and it makes it easier for me to see your face. But it's no big deal. It's fine either way. No biggie. Duh. Huh? Yeah, I want Klopp to stay forever. I don't think Steven Gerrard's ready to be the coach of Liverpool yet. That's who everybody's going to want to get. But I don't think he's ready to be our coach yet, our manager. Skipper said, y'all started talking about soccer. He's going to bed. I'll see you, Skipper. Y'all are here to witness the future of sports commentary. Calling it now, but one day we're going to be watching Carter every morning on ESPN instead of those current clowns forced on us daily. I hope so. I'm going to tell you this, okay? So, a few weeks ago, I got to do the ESPN 104.5 show. And would I do a show on their network? Yes. I like their setup. I like their producers. I like everything that those guys have going on. And I feel like the show went great. Mario is a great guy. T-Bob and all those guys are great people. I would love to do a show on there. I have I actually have a Comrex here where I could do a show basically anywhere. A radio show. So now I'm in a spot where I want to start doing, more national kind of stuff. I obviously have this setup. I have a radio setup. I might start writing again. I miss writing for Bleacher Report. I miss writing features. I miss that. I miss doing TV. I miss doing it all. But I have a lot of respect for Stephen A. Smith and all those guys. I've had one brief interaction with Stephen A. many years ago. So yeah, I hope one day that the dream is still alive, that I'm doing national sports commentary. And honestly, and you guys know that are married. I know you know this, Nola Grizz. The wedding took a lot out of me. There was a lot that goes into a wedding. Very lucky to have, the family that I have to, support me in the wedding, and had a lot of family, went to a funeral. It's been a rough month, but it's been a fun month, but also a rough month. But now I feel like I'm hitting a little bit of a stride. I really do feel that way. And I'm not going to stop. Greeny. I worked with Greeny for a week for the Super Bowl in New Orleans, and he was a pleasant guy. Him, Golick. I actually saw Golick in at Shaq's party in L.A. Not this past year, but the year before. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, Green's a good dude. That's what's up. What's up? The biggest D. Okay. Real Madrid is pretty good. Yeah. I almost said they have Luka Doncic. When you have Luka Modric and freaking Benzema and those guys, man, are loaded. And they just beat us down pretty badly. So that's why we really needed that 7-0 today. So yeah. Let's see what's do show some love to one of our favorites on PHL. Okay, I think you guys know this guy. Kind of becoming a fan favorite here. All right. Colin Hurley. Was the MVP and the winner of the QB Accuracy Challenge this weekend at the UA Orlando camp. So really happy for Colin, MVP. Good stuff. So there you go. Wanted to show him some love. Liga MX. So here we are. We have reached the hour and a half mark. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. In the next 5 minutes, we'll answer as many questions as we possibly can. But if you do super chat, we'll happily keep this party moving. Okay. Once again, apologies for the internet issues. We have to push it back. We have exactly 69 viewers. Nice. What games do you plan on going to this next season? I will more than likely be at the Arkansas game next year. Okay. More than likely. Early in the season, I want to go to a game early in the season. I used to not be able to go to games early in the season. It's a fourth game of the year. I would expect that game to be at night. I hope that isn't an 11 a.m. game, the SEC home opener for us. I I'm guessing that one. So plan on that one. Okay. Probably not going to Orlando. Okay. Now, the only way I would go to Orlando is if I was able to get the trip funded. Um, and I'll look into that. But as of right now, I am not going to Orlando for the opener. Okay. Do you keep track of springs of other colleges? If so, who are you watching? You know what? I do and I don't. Obviously, if an injury happens and it's serious, then that is a big story. But the bottom line is this with all spring football breakdowns. The injuries are always the biggest stories. And those aren't the ones you actually, want to amplify, but if they happen, they happen. So, well, there you go. Carver's just invited me to stay with him. There you go. So that's a start. But, as far as it's as far as other springs, the obviously the biggest story for me, Pegasus, because they're national championship contenders, who is a quarterback going to be at Alabama and Georgia? That's obviously going to be the biggest story of the spring. And what makes it interesting, Pegasus, is I think one story that will overarch all of it, and I think this is what's going to make this college football season not suck, but there are 2 to 3 overarching stories that are bigger than the football itself leading into this next college football season. The first is what makes this college football season historic is that this is the last of the 14 playoff, right? So even when college football moved to the 14 playoff, nothing changed. Absolutely nothing changed, other than a selection committee and 2 extra games being played. A whole lot did not change, though, other than 2 extra teams got into the field, which I felt was necessary. So nothing really changed. The sport is going to change when it goes to 12 teams, and you are going to feel it change in a major way. The 14 playoff, the immediacy of each and every game still weighed supreme. I'm not going to say that the immediacy of the games go away in a 12-team playoff, but they do dampen. And that is something that will unquestionably happen. The second thing, oh, there you go, Nola Grizz. I thought I was going to get asked about this tonight because I have received some heat on Twitter for defending Chris Rock. And I'm not going to say anything about the special because I know you're about to watch it. I saw The Hour in Chicago, pretty well known. It was a weekend of the Florida game. So we'll go to the super chat, but one final thing to follow up on that. Something else is the Pac-12. This Pac-12 story is going to be massive. It just is. There's just no other way around it. It is so gigantic. I hope they find a way to keep the conference together, but a bunch of lives are about to change with if the Pac-12 can't get a TV deal done. So it's just the bottom line. So those 2 stories are just so much bigger than anything that will actually happen this next season. It's still going to be about the football, but that's why, I'm really going to enjoy this last season of college football. And part of the reason why I really wanted to go to the LSU Bama game this last year is, and I thank FACP monitoring and Steve and the whole crew, John and everybody. I wouldn't have been able to go for one for them. That was the best game. That was my favorite game in Tiger Stadium, I swear. I never thought anything would beat 07 Florida, and it still might not, but God, that game was just insane. It was absolutely insane. But yeah, I've gotten it back and forth with a few people on Twitter, gotten a few DMs. I didn't say anything just crazy. I just said, hey, there's more to the Chris Rock special than Will Smith stuff. I'm not going to say anything, but there's more to the special than, he didn't just hack it up for an hour on Will Smith. Something else that people are forgetting is this special was shot live. Like, this was a live comedy special. And for those that don't know, we're sports fans here. I know some of you watch comedy, but comedy specials are never live. Never. Never ever shot live. They are pre-recorded and cut from different angles, and the jokes are perfectly clean and all of that. It's hard to do a live special. It is hard. Um, and I know a lot of people will say, well, it's just a live comedy show. And some people will say that. And in many ways it is, but it isn't. Because this product of months of touring, months of writing, years of writing, some jokes from last specials don't make it to the next. It was great. That's all there is to it. That's all I'll say, because I know you're getting ready to watch it, and you have been our top super chatter. But did you? I will defend Chris Rock till I leave this planet. I will defend him, and I like Will Smith. But I'm telling you right now, some of the stuff said about Chris today just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's a lot in the special I didn't like. Well, I wouldn't say a lot. There were some things I didn't like. But that's a comedy special. You're not going to like every joke. It would be insane that it's to say anyone watched a special of whichever favorite comedian and said, you know what? Every single joke in there was great. There's going to be some jokes that aren't as good as the other ones. So Cliff got to see him live in NOLA, and it's good. The hour's just good. Okay? But no spoilers. NOLA Grizz is getting ready to go watch it, so not going to do that. And he also super chatted, so get your questions in. Aaron Anderson currently winning the poll here. Landon Ibieta got some love in here a little bit earlier. Oh, Landon. A lot of you UFC guys have been quiet tonight. What's up with John Jones, man? That was crazy. Tom Brady was there last night, too. Happy birthday to Emory Jones. Look at this, man. This is a vibe right here. Blessed to see 19. Oh, watch. The Jays. There you go. I like this. I'm an Emory fan. Super fan, honestly. That was the worst fight ever. I mean, it's different kinds of comedy. I mean, Chris couldn't do what Will did on Fresh Prince, and they're different. They're different kinds of comedians. But yes, I like Chris. I like Chris Rock better than I like Will Smith, and I might be weighing my opinion on the matter. But just go watch his special. So many people are simplifying what Chris said, and they're honestly missing a few overarching themes in the special. So yeah, I loved it. I loved it. But then again, I'm a Chris super fan. Didn't like everything, but it was great. I can feel your energy. Flight without the cameras on. FSU game is going to be so much fun. Welcome to the channel. Keep track of Ole Miss. Quarterback battle is going to be interesting. Any Walker Howard fans still left out there? I know Semper. I don't blame Semper for still being a fan. But yeah. Let's see. Oh, no. I'm looking at this. Clifton's calling me. I don't know why Prez is calling me. I'm looking to see how many. So there's a way you could tell who unfollowed. So when I'm looking to see how many LSU fans unfollowed Walker Howard. No, I'm not sleeping. I'm trying to figure out. I'm very curious about this. I guess I could, because I would see a bunch of mutuals. I think most of the people I follow still follow him. That's so funny. Now, I don't think a whole lot of people unfollowed him. I don't. No, I'm wide awake. The Master Blaster. Let's go. The Master Blaster. Moms Mabley. I've read about her. It was just crazy, like how big she was to be on TV as a black woman and be that funny. It's just crazy. Like, what was that in the 20s, 30s? And knowing that there were so many people that just hated her. I mean, what a life she lived. Like, and I think what people forget, Sibley, anytime anybody brings her up, I'm not going to pretend that I'm a fan, is like when you were a comedian and you were on like these shows like the Ed Sullivan Show, like everybody was watching you. Like late night was just everything. What a legend. Loretta Mary Aiken. Moms Mabley. It's so crazy. I didn't think I'd get that. Semper, still a believer. He's not going to play this next year. Or is he? We don't know. Rustin has a nice D-line again. Hey, it happens if Kyle Williams becomes your coach. But yeah, it's crazy. I didn't think we'd get a Moms Mabley reference. The Master Blaster. I love it. The Master Blaster. Jontre Kirkland is still making plays. Oh, man. Look at this. Look at this. Master Blaster just jumped in, so we're going to hang out.
Swings out and deep ball to the sideline. It is caught. Jontre Kirkland wins the battle on the top of Cameron Kelly. It is caught. Swings out and deep ball to the sideline. It is caught.
Wait, is Jontre him? Is Jontre him? I love it. Yeah, that is so crazy. Like it was just like the first time I read about her, it's like it was just mind blowing that even, man, it's crazy. The Master Blaster. What's up, man? I love it. Jordan, what's on your mind, man? Please tell me you received your cards in the mail. I know. Hello, not yet, but I'll probably arrive at the office tomorrow. I hope you arrive. So, Master Blaster, you get to pick the next topic. By the way, I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I'm a little disappointed. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay? How is it that I've not sold a Power Hour LSU merch item in the last 2 weeks? 2 weeks. This is the longest dry period I have had. So, I'm looking at Pegasus. I'm looking at 2 or 3 not good as one. What's up, man? Always get that Kenny Chesney super chat. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. Huh? Go to powerhourlsu.com/shop. You know you want that PHL merch. The next person spends $50 on PHL merch. I will send you a Walker Howard autograph. How about that? I'm kidding. But I will send you one. I'll send you a autograph from a 2019 LSU member. How about that? And I'll for sure send you a Joe Burrow card. How about that? Well, you see the way my bank account. The Simper, you've got some PHL merch. I'm looking at the merch list. PHLers. Music, I'm looking at you. Boom, I'm looking at you. You know you want it, baby. You know you want it. You know you want it. Well, Tony, you've got your PHL merch. Look at you. You rock the PHL merch. I can't. I mean, Semper's been rocking. Semper wears my stuff all the time. In fact, Semper sent a photo of his lovely family to me. Semper is a PHL OG. He actually has my favorite Walker Howard card, and he can keep it. I'm kidding. I actually really did like that card, and I still like Walker, even though he went to a rival. Well, actually, I can't say I like him, but personally, I hope he's happy with this decision. Now, Master Blaster, get your question in. Drop it like it's hot. We had over 100 people in here tonight. That's obviously really good. Not where we want to be. We have been in the 200s, the 300s, 400s. After the Alabama game, 500s. And when the Brian Kelly announcement was made, I believe we hit 600. But I'm telling you, I'm going to be honest. I was watching some of the stuff Haley watches on like the Alex Murdaugh stuff. And these law channels, Emily D. Baker, 58,000 people. 58,000 people was watching her on the Murdaugh stuff. 58,000 people. That is absurd. That is abso-freaking-lutely absurd. So, that is what? 1,000x what my current viewers are right now. But it's wild. It's absolutely wild. And by the way, Master Blaster, thank you so much for your super chat once again. I appreciate you. It's been a tough couple of weeks for you. You're my guy, man. But I'm telling you, I was looking at her stuff. And once again, the Murdaugh stuff was like the biggest story in America this week. But, man, it was a crazy story. That was definitely one of the more intense, kind of like, Casey Anthony kind of story. And I'm not making light of it. I'm just saying, like, in terms of like news coverage, this was so big. And you had the Netflix and you had all this stuff. I do think like people's obsession with this stuff is just crazy. All right, Master Blaster's question. It's something we touched on in the beginning, but we're going to get into it again here. The LSU Combine attendees didn't look great. What are your thoughts on that? I agree. And look, there's no real other way to sugarcoat that. They did just they weren't good. It wasn't good. Now, does that mean that it's the end of the road for them? No. But what I think it shows is, here's a good example, right? Is it plausible that KAYSHON just had a bad day? Yes, it is plausible. And he might have trained last week and on the dot he ran 4.36 or something like that. And he just did not have a good day at the combine. Those things happen. Maybe he was sick, maybe there's something, I don't know. But do not run at the combine unless you are going to smoke the freaking combine, right? Like Bijan Robinson, he's going to the Texas Pro Day just to support his teammates, right? There is no reason for KAYSHON to run if he did not if he was not ready to put out a top time, because I doubt the pro day time is going to be worse than the combine time. So I thought that was very bizarre, because there's no way, if, like let's say last week he was hitting 4.3 consistently, he would have come out and ran 4.5 and 4.67, unless there was an injury or something like that. I touched on Dre Jenkins a little bit earlier. That wasn't really a shock. A lot of guys decided not to run. That's not really a shock either. The pro day times for LSU is always really good, and I would have just waited and done that, right? All right, Zipper, we'll see you. Tony, we'll see you. Let me get to this right here from Will K. And Master Blaster, if you got another question, we'll get into it. I thought Anthony Bradford had a really good day. He definitely helped himself out. Will Saban says that playing LSU every year is not right. So Buster follows up here. What is the context behind that quote? Okay, I will happily share the context. So the way that these opponents are coming to be, and we've not actually talked about this a whole lot, the way that these opponents are being divvied up by the SEC is in part by obviously traditional rivalries. That is the number one metric on who you play. So Alabama will play Auburn. You guys know the Ole Miss and Mississippi State. You guys know those schools, right? So then the next metric is program strength. And then the third, I believe, is geography. I think that's how it's being done. So program strength, you divide the two, the top 8 and the bottom 8. And Saban's point is the 3 teams that he believes the SEC will end up giving him, and he said it with confidence to Sports Illustrated, is Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU. And while Tennessee ended up being the 9th team when it comes to program strength, and I believe, according to Ross Dellinger and Sports Illustrated, Tennessee, I think they went by win percentage over the past decade. Well, Tennessee is pretty clearly on an upward trajectory, even though they sucked for a long period of time. So some of this is cyclical. Is that the right way to say that word? Some of it is that, but Alabama is getting a little bit of a raw deal getting Auburn, LSU, and Tennessee. Now, will anyone feel sorry for them? No, they're Alabama. But that's why Saban says Alabama should not play LSU every year. Now, what about the other two schools? Well, Alabama's not going to lose Auburn, and Alabama's not going to lose Tennessee, right? Third Saturday in October. You guys probably know what that means. So, whatever the reason may be, Saban does not want to play LSU, and I think the reason is because those are three really difficult opponents. Now, what I will also say, as far as here's a good point right here from Jackson Miller to show Anthony Bradshaw athleticism. Creed Humphrey, arguably, one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. He's definitely one of the best. Same 10-yard split as Creed Humphrey. Really good. Yeah, there you go. So my last video on Power Hour SEC was about this very topic. Georgia and Alabama is very rough of a draw. So there you go. So this was a fun live stream, 2 hours on the dot. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget, join our PHL Patreon, okay? Patreon.com/LSU football. I highly recommend you do so because you help me. If you watch me all the time, goes a long way. As you guys see, not a whole lot of sponsors. I like to keep it that way. That might be changing soon. I'm very, very lucky to have over 8,000 subscribers and views and all that, and all you guys. But joining the Patreon, joining the Discord, it is a fun community of diehard LSU football fans. And for the most part, we all get along, and there's also very lively debate. So join us. Buster knows about it, as do many others. I think we are at 55 patrons, which is pretty daggum cool if you ask me. So come on over to patreon.com/LSU football. Jared, hey, you have been quiet tonight. I love it. Spoken to a lot of PHLers that have been a little MIA as of late recently. Nola Grizz is our top super chatter of the evening, along with John Sibley. I really appreciate you guys. Kedrick, our last patron. There you go. I love it. Eddie! Power Hour LSU. Boom. MVP. Mom's Mabley. That's so cool. I didn't think we'd get that kind of reference in there. I love it. Freaking love it. And tonight, we're doing tacos. Night 2. Let's go. Well, are you signed up? John Sibley text me. I'll get you all set up. Let's go.